Good morning, good afternoon, safe travel on the gravel for all my homies out there, all my squaddies, all my charges, all my ladies out there. For your best interest at heart from me, I, in the place to be. I've been doing the music, seminars, lectures, whatever you want to call them, vlogs. They're just coming out as I feel the vibe. And this one is going to be strictly about self-defense and how we can best incorporate some of the techniques that are available to us all. There's mixed martial arts that is very, very prominent right now, usually in a ring or in a cage, similar to how boxing is done. And the rules to all of these competitive martial arts styles, even in karate, judo, taekwondo, they all have a competitive side to them. Self-defense is mainly something that you're going to encounter on the streets, whereas in the ring you're utilizing your self-defense knowledge with the drills, with all the exercises, all the road work you do. This is going to help you to then become stronger and give you maybe a competitive edge against your opponents. The blood, the sweat, they all add up to the amount of effort that you can then expunge in the fight. This may give you that competitive edge against your opponent is equal to you. This makes for a thrilling fight, especially for the audience. And when I watch boxing competitions, karate competitions, I'm for technique, I'm looking for style, I'm looking for finesse, a little bit of the things we see on Hollywood, which is not always easy to see. We talk about how they score. You'd have to really look at different associations and different affiliated groups, how they do their score. When you're watching these fights, it's very exciting for the crowd, but for the judges, as I said, they're not going to be jumping up cheering. They're going to be looking with a keener eye. And competitive sports like these are different from the real thing. Even when you're training, it's completely different from the competitive side of the sport. With football, if you're playing football training, it's hard. It's quite hard in doing the training, but you can still take breathers in between. Whereas when you have a friendly, it's a lot more intense. It's a lot different from training. Even though you're still going to not put 100% effort in, it's still going to be competitive. When you go to now league game, when you're playing football, we're talking about in a competition, or you're going into where you are then facing somebody who you may want to win, put a lot more effort into. And that might be because of your pride, might be because of your beliefs, something like that. It could be even personal, and it's not always good to take it personal when your opponent against you and you're both riling each other up. We see this in boxing, we see this in most competitive sports, that they both come onto camera and they're both going back and forward. We even see it now on social media where people are goading each other to usually sell the fight. They're not really enemies a lot of the times. And that is my belief. And this makes for a good fight. Believable, and the rivalry is there. Then you're going to see a different excitement for the crowd. It's a lot more exciting. There's anticipation, there's tension. There's even the fact that somebody's really going to get hurt. Footballers take it to the limit. Sportsmen take it to the limit. And if you're doing self-defense, the training that you're doing within your everyday routines, your drills, your road work are the most important thing. You're already got the mind to understand, well, what's happening here. You're reading the situation, so you get into fighting stance, or you get into a defensive position. So you have the cross block and you have the high guard. These are very dominant position. You're also trying to get the dominant position when you're getting into the ring. And same when you're playing football, the team who pushes the team back, who gets to play in their half, usually has an edge over the team. So every time the defense is cleared the ball, it comes straight back in. This is a problem for most teams because they're constantly under pressure. And if you're in any competitive sport, you understand what pressure is. If you can put the opponent under pressure, then you have the edge over them. This is psychological as well as it's everything. It's their game plan can go out the window unless they have a game plan. So people who can think during this period when everything's happening, it's all going on in real time, these are usually the ones who you have to be wary of. So
in the fighting game. If you're in there, you're throwing your best jabs, your hooks, everything, and everything's coming back at you at the same pace. It's like fighting your own shadow. This is look up against a team that is exactly equal to you, then it's going to be a draw. Same in boxing, same in more sports, apart from maybe cricket where you don't have as many draws, but you still do have draws. And tennis, they play to time when it could be 4 or 5 hours game and then they'll come back the next day. And same with snooker. These are slower games, but there is still intensity. There is still a level of psychological warfare going on within these sports. Chess also teaches you this. So if you are a thinking man, and you are a thinking man whether in boxing or in any sport, you're going to stand a better chance, you yourself, if you are composed, you're humble, your breathing is right, you've done all your techniques, you've done all the training, you've done all the skills that you need to do within your training sessions, drills that you need to do. And this is what is important about training. So if you're going to do self-defense, do the training, do the drills, be humble, listen to your coach. Don't have to listen to me because I'm not teaching you one-to-one. I'm teaching you in a general sort of way. Pushing people about and cajoling people is going to lead to more stress for yourself, stress on your heart. And if you're a person who likes to enjoy life, you don't want to be stressed out. That will stress your heart. It will give you heart problems. So I'm trying to make you understand that self-defense is something that is the last resort. So if you can avoid the situation, as I said, being out of the way, ducking, diving, blocking, you're not going to beg. You're not going to beg. If you're not one of those people who doesn't want to beg, then you got to take what's coming to you. But hopefully you can placate the situation, use your common sense in situation. That is why I talked about self-defense. Think about yourself, think about the safety of others around you. If you are in charge of them, if you're a school teacher, you are thinking about protecting the people who are in your charge. If you are a police officer, that is your job, to protect the public. Most of the public walk about not wanting to cause trouble. As a man, we don't want to cause trouble. We are able to deal with situations if we are trained. Not all men are trained at the same level. So you don't want to be bucking up against somebody who's exactly more like you and more aggressive than you, and then you're rolling on the floor. It doesn't look what we see in the movies. It's not like that. It's people, two grown-ass men rolling about on the floor, breathing heavily because nobody can jump in. It's like King Kong and Godzilla when they were fighting. Nobody can get involved. It's just two grown-ass men. Usually it's very sloppy. And I showed you some fight scenarios, not to show you the violence of fighting, but to show you the fairness of fighting. I showed you a guy getting into the ring, and he got into the ring and straight away the referee didn't like the cut of his jib. I said it that way because that is how the rules are. In boxing, you have a set of rules. You have to adhere to them rules. The guy jumped over the ropes as a bit of a show-off way. The referee told him to go back outside the ring and come, and his trainer lifted the ropes up and he came back under the rope, because that made the referee feel he was in charge. He wasn't going to allow this other guy to come with his cockiness. And these are just sort of scenes that you're going to see, and it's not always what we're looking for, because we're the crowd. We're looking for excitement, we're looking for blood, gore, guts, glory. We're looking for all the things that we saw in the Rocky movies, and the fighter doesn't want that to happen. He doesn't want to be in a slugfest who don't mind being at close quarters, slugging it out. But the top fighters, like we look at Mayweather, style that's quite hard to connect with for most people who are watching. But for a fighter who's learned that style, this is one of the most brilliant styles you can learn. And there's another fighter that I showed you who's a young fighter, up and coming. You've seen the video, and he was basically showboating about, and it looked very, very funny and entertaining because he connected with the punches, but he didn't allow the other person to connect back at him. This is very good. This is defensive fighting, but at the same time he was hitting punches from different angles, and the referee, rightly so, went against that. Rabbit punching at the back of the head. This is not allowed. There's a lot of things that are not allowed in a certain sport. You know, elbowing, biting, gouging eyes, finger pokes, and things like that are not allowed in competitive sports. You know, to even chop in certain areas of the body. We've all got these places. So this is where the places you try to defend. You try to defend the central line, and you also try to defend the middle of the ring. So there's a lot going on. And when I watch fighting, I see this. I see the fighters who are trying to dominate. They're trying to dominate the fighter. The one where there was two fighters who were both equally matched. That's why I put them up, because it showed that if you're fighting somebody who's equally matched as you, and it looked like they were doing a lot, they actually were doing a lot, but a lot of the punches were connecting to what we call leather. They're just connecting to leather. So you hear the snap in the punch. As the other one punched, the other one would slightly go back. It was very quick in real time. If you slowed it down, you would see that the guy moved back, then he'd punch. And this was making it look like they were both really throwing a lot of leather, putting a lot of effort into it. But what they were actually doing were actually counteracting each other. And when one got hit, he moved back and had to readjust himself. Then he went back in, and they were both basically what we call going gun for leather. They were both gung-ho going in there, and it looked like a very exciting fight. And this is what we, as I said, spectators are looking for. We're looking for the excitement. The referee is looking for something else. The fighters are hopefully trying not to get hurt, but they're also trying to dispatch the other person as quickly as they can. Some fighters will sometimes prolong the fight because they know they have to wear this fighter down. To learn the defensive moves, you have to learn the defensive blocks, you have to learn the ethos behind martial arts, Taoism, yin yang. So you see a lot of martial arts, kung fu people do this. This is one of the main greetings that you see in certain societies, and martial artists use this because it means a lot. And you will find out what these symbolisms mean. You have the fist, and you have the block, or the spear, or whatever you want to call it, or the sword, or the shield. Opposites, left and right. You have good, evil. You have negative and positive. So these are little philosophies that were sent down through the ages, through Tai Chi, through Wing Chun, through the old methods of learning martial arts. You see this with the Shaolin monks. They use the old methods of training and the understanding about emptying the vessel and being clean and humble. So when you look at a Shaolin monk, would many of you want to even attempt to defend yourself or fight off a Shaolin monk? No, because you know, we've seen what they do. But that doesn't mean that all Shaolin monks are going to do that. It's the same when we looked at the fighting styles. If we look at all the fighting styles and pit them against each other, you cannot distinguish between which is the best. You have to look at individuals who do that. And a lot of the time they've done different styles. But if you looked at that one particular style, like Jiu-Jitsu versus Karate, it's no competition. Because when you get to the highest levels of karate and the highest level of jiu-jitsu, there is a mutual respect there that the both masters, grandmasters would not probably really want to challenge each other. And those who probably do, it probably could be based on ego or some competitive feud that's going on. And usually the one who's the most focused will win that fight because they're both equally matched, both doing different styles, so you have to counteract each other. And karate is from Okinawa. Kung Fu is from China. Judo is from Japan. So different styles that came out. We have Taekwondo, Muay Thai. We have different styles of karate. We have different styles of Kung Fu. We have boxing. We have different styles of boxing. Different associations that represent different boxes, but they're all at the same way. It's long-winded. It's long-winded. When we talk about defense, people defend their titles, people defend their belt. They're defending something, they're defending their honor. This was one of the mantras that warrior took up in the beginning. They had to sign an old form of warrior training, where we look at the Spartans. So we're not going to go too far back into history, but just trying to give you a little bit of knowledge of self-defense and how you can then get into it without getting yourself hurt or walking around with this ego that's going to get you hurt, knocked out, for not understanding. Yeah, there's a lot more to this game than meets the eye. So yeah, peace and love.